Welcome to A Photographer's Life, the channel that takes you behind the curtain into the world of professional architectural photography. Join us now for a special episode with some of America's premier architectural photographers. Today's broadcast is part one of a three-part question and answer meeting. This meeting was held by the Association of Independent Architectural Photographers, and the discussion is led by AIAP Director Alan Blakely. We hope you enjoy the show. If you do, please let us know by liking this episode and subscribing to this channel. Now, on with the show.
Welcome. Norman and I have just been kind of chatting about business in general and how things are going. So Justin and Stephanie, I'm curious to know how your year is going so far.
My year isn't really going to kick off for another month or so yet, but as soon as it does, I'm completely booked for the rest of the year.
That's great.
But it's all I that sounds horrible now that I just said it. I have specific clients that really like a country club and a couple of builders and stuff, and they're my base each year. So commercial real estate and stuff. And then other people come in and I try to fit them in as I can. But we have the clients that I normally have 5 or 6. They have enough projects going through the year that'll keep me busy to cover all my costs and everything. So anything else that comes in is an extra. So I'm really lucky that way to be able to pull that off. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Justin, what's your year looking like?
So it was starting slow for me.
Okay.
And I just had a number of jobs come in all at once for a remodeling company, a developer, another client, interior designer. So it's just kind of hit me all at once here. They're somewhat spread out now, but so it was slow for me January, February. I'm also a realtor, so I was taking time to try and develop that business as well. So it's looking up though for me.
Good.
Do you guys, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Did you guys find that, because for me, winter, probably around October, November, it stops until April, May, and then it just goes off again and goes the rest of the year. Do you guys run into that lull, or is it just kind of like my area?
I've been busy year round. I think Norman, you have too.
I dream about having a day off. No, we stay busy pretty much year round. We have for decades. So
good for you. That's awesome. Wow. Yeah, my area tends to get a little bit dead in the winter where everybody's working, but they don't need me for anything because they want to wait for the green to come back.
Yeah. And Norman, I the two of us, I know that you and I, we work well outside of our own geographic area. So I think that has a lot to do with it, that we work coast to coast, and that helps a lot. Well, I'm going to start out here because the question I have is with regard to image licensing. I got Pixie on board, and I've been using them for quite a while now, but I'm not finding any improvement in image, the respect for image licensing in the market. Even though people have been made aware that I'm going after, Pixie's going after them for infringements. Is that a major problem for anybody else? Yeah, Norm?
Yeah, we have, I use Pixie as well. And I probably have, I think I have 400 plus cases.
Wow.
So it's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
They, what I have also noticed is with Pixie, and I don't know if you've experienced this, Alan, they'll try and come to a settlement with somebody.
Yeah.
But if the person they're contacting does not respond after so many attempts, then Pixie says they can't resolve the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I've taken 60 of those cases and handed them off to my intellectual property attorney.
Okay.
Because the infringement is some people are actually taking our work and using it on their website. So it's so blatant that I'm going to go ahead and invest in doing that.
Norman, what kind of infringement are you seeing the companies, the types of usage you mentioned website? Is it somebody advertising your architectural photos as their own image or own projects that they are working on, like a builder, for
Well,
example?
I've had like a window company. I shot for an architect, and he used a specific brand of windows, and the company knew it. And so they took the images from his website and used them in their advertising without a license.
Wow.
Yeah,
So,
I'd go after that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been instances like that. The one thing that I expected to see a lot of misuse of was for hospitality, because we do a lot of hotels. We shoot for Marriott and Hilton, and those clients have been really diligent with maintaining their license. Sometimes, you get on second and third party sites, and I haven't had any problem with that. And that's what I was expecting the most of. I'm surprised that until I found Pixie, I had no idea how many people were using our, stealing our stuff. So
are you guys registering your images like right after a shoot with the copyright office? Is that part of your?
We do it quarterly.
Quarterly.
Yeah. Pixie offers a bulk registration service, and that just makes it so easy.
Yeah, it's actually cheaper than if you do it yourself through the copyright office. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got over 400 cases as well, and there have been some pretty significant settlements. Pixie they don't really strong arm people, and they will try to they email them, and then they will call them, and at that point, like Norman said, at some point they just decide it's not worth their time and effort to pursue it any farther, and you're then allowed to go ahead and do that. And I have people who will get the call from Pixie, and then they'll call me and say, can you just waive this? What? And no, there's a contract in place, and it's up to Pixie whether or not they let that go. So the whole copyright and infringement thing. And then there's one more thing I wanted to bring up, is that Instagram just this week announced that they're going to allow product tagging within photographs, which really kind of concerns me, because some of the worst infringements, like Norman was saying, is for manufacturers who are using photographs that I've done for an architect or a builder, and then a manufacturer gets a hold of it and is using it to advertise their products. And I just see Instagram having opened that door even wider. So that's a concern.
We've had that problem with House. House was the worst.
Exactly. Yeah.
The bottom line is they're making money off of our photos. That's the bottom line. It's very simple.
Yeah, you realize that if you join House, or your client joins House, part of that fine print is that you own the pictures you're submitting, and you're giving them to House to use in any manner they see fit. So, and a lot of people don't realize that. That's
right.
Yeah, I have nothing to do. I'm not on House, but that's
but your clients. But when you give your images to your clients, and so that's where I've had an issue in the past, is if you say, okay, so one of my clients said his name's Dave, and I said, Dave, House is going to use these without reimbursing me, but he wants to use them because he gets work from House. So it's really a touchy subject. And I think House knows that we're not going to tell our clients, no, you can't have that, those images on House. And some people might say, well, then charge them more if they're going to have them on House. So House's headquarters down in San Diego or something. I drove by it one day and I'm thinking, I want to just go in there and have them a little talk with these guys. Say, do you understand what's going on? And then ASMP isn't going to go after them either. They talked about it at one point, I think.
Yeah. I mean, ASMP has already kind of gone the rounds with Instagram, but the House situation, I've actually got several cases right now that Pixie is pursuing against people who have posted on House. What they've done is they've taken stuff from the original licensee. So say if I did work for a builder, he posted on House, and then somebody else is then posting, taking those and sharing them on their own page or something like that. And that is an infringement that's outside of the House contract, and Pixie is actually pursuing those for me. So
does it cost money to have Pixie membership or anything?
Well, they offer if you mention that you're a member of AIAP, I think you get a 3-month free membership just to try them out. The same if ASMP and PPFA, it's the same thing. You get a 3-month free membership, but all you have to do is mention that. And I think I pay $39 a month. Is that what it is, Norman?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
And it allows you to have 30,000 images in the database.
Yeah.
So that's where I am with them.
Yeah, and you can pay for extra and have more. I think I've got over 30 in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's nice. They've recovered. I don't know about you, Alan, but I mean they've had some nice settlements for us last year.
Yeah. My very first recovery, paid for several years of Pixie membership. So
yeah, it sure did. No, I recommend them. I really do.
Yeah.
The stock photography, they used to go after Corbis back in the day.
Yeah.
Getty would go after, but that's not happening much anymore.
No.
Yeah.
So we'll take a look at that. Justin, can you do research on that? You and I talk to me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll write up a report. We can.
Yeah. Kind of as an aside, I've got an article that I'm submitting to the AIA's magazine, Architect magazine, as well as to the ASID and IIDA newsletters, which deals with licensing and copyright. I did this several years ago. The AIA published it. It's since been buried in the archives. And so this is just kind of a refresher, and the language is a little bit more friendly as far as explaining how this all works. But anyway, those will hopefully, the article will go out this coming week, and hopefully I'll see some publication within the next quarter. So hopefully that might help a little bit. We'll see.
Strengthen numbers.
I'm going to also, it'll go out to all my media contacts, which include, trade journals and magazines and newspapers and that sort of thing. I'm just hoping that it gets picked up by quite a few. So we'll see. Anybody?
I have a question along these lines that you guys are talking about. Do you have policies in your terms and conditions related to social media usage, tagging other parties in the photographs, as you alluded to with the product tagging? I've found that clients will tag the vendors and so forth in the images, and they feel they get a benefit of having their work showcased on the manufacturers or suppliers' websites. One case, there's a company, Arteriors, that actually took the image and then has a way of embedding it on their own website. So they're advertising it now on their website from an Instagram post that my client displayed, tagged Arteriors. Arteriors then embedded it in their own website. So I'm wondering if you guys have like terms and conditions related to that, or how you deal with that.
I have. I used to use a multi-page license agreement 20 years ago, and I worked with an attorney, and we got that down to one document, and it works for me. But it allows the original licensee to use the images on the website, and then their social media and their product advertising for press. I give them those rights as well. I'm different than some photographers. They'll license every year. My license for a client is lifetime. So that works for me. So that's some people they want to renew it every year. I found with a lot of clients that I work with people now for 15, 20 years, that became a problem. But anyway, to address your question, I let them use it for social media. I also have a line in there about third-party use, which is what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. That's a direct infringement, and that's a violation of the license. So that's something you could pursue through someone like Pixie, or an intellectual property counsel can address that as well, because what they're doing is they're using your image without a license. So I'd send them a bill.
Yeah, I do the same thing, and I just had one of these just recently, and similar kind of situation where a manufacturer monetized a post by making it something about themselves. And so I sent them a bill, and I got a call the very next day. and they paid the bill. So I think that's a continuing problem where then it becomes a third-party usage, which is outside of the terms of the license.
Yeah. That's what we all know. But as we all know, there's photographers out there that will say, "Oh yeah, you buy them, you can let other people use them," and that's why we're having this dialogue now. It's always the case. It's an uphill battle, but yeah.
I have a phrase I put on the front page of my contract is also pretty short. So a front page and a back page. Terms and conditions are almost all on the back page. But on the front, I have prominently down at the bottom, no third-party usage without permission. And that usually takes care of it. Not always, but at least they're put on warning. And so I do get questions, can we do this? Or we have somebody else that's interested in the photo, so they automatically kind of send them. And I also don't put a time limit on it. But that's my background, because I was in construction and did some design work, was I knew architects and interior designers are going to use this stuff forever. There's no fashion involved particularly, so they just need it. So I the money's not that good anyway. If it was advertising typically has a time limit because of fashion and hairstyles. And so they're spending more money on media anyway. So you have more leverage because there's more money involved. It seems like it should be the opposite, but it's just, so that is standard, but for everything else, it doesn't seem to be.
When you mentioned that about in perpetuity, unlimited amount in advertising, of course, you can go for a couple of years and that's it. But for architects and interior designers, there's no way you're going to have to renew it every year. They're going to just laugh at you and move on to somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
But for ads, that's where you make your money, on a buyout or something. So that's a big difference.
Well, to be clear, I put in there no advertising, right? I just put in a list, and forgive me if because I'm just obviously late to the game. Just in general, I'm waking up. Social media marketing, PR, RFPs, contests, award submissions, and that. And I don't usually have advertising in there.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
If a company is going to use it to advertise a product or that's a different license. So I got the same thing. I've got collateral use, trade brochures, sales ads, trade shows, website, presentations, employee magazines, blah blah. I'm happy. I'll send anybody my license. I mean, you can use it, clean from it. It doesn't matter to me, but it works. The part I have in here that's a client may not assign or transfer this agreement to any rights or any rights to any third party, including but not limited to clients, contractors, subcontractors, consultants, friends, and acquaintances. A lot of times a client, a client will, I shot their house, I'm going to give these to the homeowner.
Yeah.
I got no problem with that if the homeowner's licensed. But then the homeowner takes your pictures and they're just, the next thing they're all over the place. It turns into a quagmire. And then I think the best line in this license, use of any of these images in any manner whatsoever constitutes acceptance of these terms.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So and that goes with this document is with, every FTP upload we send. So it's part of their delivery. So if they use if they use the picture for anything, they've accepted the terms of these licenses. So.
Would you mind maybe posting that language on the Facebook group or something like that, or sending it to me and I will, or
I'll send it to you.
Alan, then we get it from Alan. Yeah,
there's a couple of things. Yeah, I can just I can send that out as just an email blast, but there's a few things in there that I would like to add to mine.
So just
That's great.
Let me see if I got your email here, and I'll send it.
I'm kind of kicking myself here that I hadn't even thought of that. It's so obvious.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't even talk about money. It's just you're gonna pay for it sooner or later. Yeah.
Alan, give me your email.
I'm happy to share my contract too. In fact, my basic contract with is what I give to my business students, with a lot of notes on it. But I'm happy to send a sort of raw version of it without, I think people here know the difference between an estimate and an invoice. At least I hope you all do. So can I ask a question? Was there any talk about this Instagram thing? Was there talk about how Instagram has been finally, they're trying to monetize all this free content and all that? Did you guys run over that already?
Well, briefly, but we could certainly revisit it further, because we did touch on House a little bit and what's going on with them and the Instagram thing, and they're both pretty unsettling to me.
Well, I think that the terms that you sign, digitally sign when you use Facebook and Instagram, and for that matter, all these, is the companies say, well, we can do whatever we want with the content. We don't own the copyright, but we can do it, we can sell it, we can do all that stuff. Now they haven't done that because they know how much trouble they would get into. So they put it in there to kind of future-proof, so that they could figure out a way to monetize it. Because I mean, we're the product, right? We're the way that they sell ads, all of us. That's why it's free. So it's a devil's bargain, but it's a bargain we've all agreed to. However, I think that this is a kind of halfway measure, this tagging of, and it goes along with what influencers do, right? And their influencers are branded and straight up branded, a lot of it. And I think because they're not journalistic standards in the same way, so that people know. And I think it's an indication of the other changes in the culture, like podcasts, which never had ads. Now podcasts are filled with ads read by the hosts. It's like old TV. It's like TV from the 50s. If you ever watch Dick Cavett, the early Dick Cavett's, he does ads from the desk, right? Yeah. So I think that they found this is a way for them to get some juice out of all this free that they give us. So, I mean, it is what it is. There's nothing much we can do about it. I don't think there's complaints are going to be in order, but if they get complaints, they'll modify their algorithms, I imagine. But a lot of people are going to embrace this because they're going to make money.
There is an attorney that I've been in touch with who is right now kind of exploring the idea of a class action lawsuit. I'd like to see that move forward, so I'll keep you posted on that. It's kind of in the really early stages right now, but this kind of this announcement from Instagram this week kind of reinforced that idea. So we'll see where that goes.
Well, it'll make whatever they do more transparent, because if nothing else, it'll bring the press onto it, and then the press will explain things, and then people who are not like us, who pay attention to these things or who don't pay attention to these things, will now go, what? And I think that, excuse me, Instagram got in trouble a few years ago for using people's profile pictures to do ads. And that's what we were always afraid of, because that's what that license says they can do. But boy, they had stepped over the line and then they stopped. So publicity brought on by lawsuits and complaints, and hopefully the trade associations making noise. But I mean, we're not a trade association particularly, but any group of people, who sort of band together and say, if AIAP, signs on and somehow becomes a kind of a sponsor, that has that lends legitimacy to any kind of complaint.
I'm wondering, do you guys plan on having additional conversations with your clients about the tagging on Instagram, or do you feel like they have enough understanding of how things work that in your contract that's sufficient? Or how do you plan on communicating this? Because it seems like, again, many clients, in my point of view that I deal with, may not understand this is not allowable, or may want to do it because they feel like it provides them extra exposure.
I haven't thought about it, to tell you the truth.
I'm not sure how to handle it, quite honestly, because what I envision happening, and probably fairly soon, is that something I shot for an architect, he's going to tag the product used in there, And then that's going to be seen by the manufacturer of the product, because now they're tagged and they're going to reshare that, and all of a sudden it becomes something that they've derived value from. So my inclination is I'll send an invoice to whoever reshares it, but my goodness, that's a lot of things to keep track of. So I'm not really sure.
The other thing is we can't burn the bridges with our client too. If our client's saying in the background saying, what's Papazian doing? He's kind of stirring it up. In this town, Portland, it's so competitive, they'll just move on.
Well, they know that. I mean, Instagram has thought about all this in advance. They know that a lot of professional photographers count on Instagram, because so many of the advertising agencies and photo editors cruise it all the time. So they're fully, because professional photographers lend legitimacy to everybody else. And whether you like influencers or not, and I don't, they also lend legitimacy to it, because it's about eyeballs. It's about selling ads. Whatever they can do. But I think, again, without any inside knowledge, that the change that was forced upon Instagram to change how the embedding worked, right? That you couldn't just, they made it harder to do. And you had to give credit and all that. That helps lead up to where we're at now with this new thing.
This has been another episode of A Photographer's Life. If you've enjoyed this program, please let us know by liking this episode and subscribing to this channel. A Photographer's Life is brought to you by the Association of Independent Architectural Photographers. This episode is copyrighted and may not be used in full or in part without the written permission of the AIAP. Please join us again soon for another inside look at the world of professional architectural photography.